and soaking up the energy, the words, the vibrations that we put out. And if we can take a moment to tap into our heart space and connect our heads to our hearts, Grandma Aggie said, the greatest distance in the world is the distance, the 14 inches between our heads and our hearts.
Mm.
And when we can bridge that space, it can be extremely powerful. So if we just take a moment and recognize the water and the sacredness of it and breathe in and just say, thank you so much for the life that you offer and that you sustain for me and all the world. And I love you. And then take a sip. Not only is that reprogramming the water itself, but then if we're taking that in, we're reprogramming ourselves to some extent. And this is the research that so many water researchers that I think Masaru Emoto kind of started this ripple. And there are several other water researchers right now. Beta Austin from New Zealand is one of my favorite ones to see what she's doing. She just wrote a book called The Living Language of Water. And she had 10 to 15 years of studies to prove the responsive consciousness of water. And it's super powerful to see. And for someone that's very scientifically minded, it's really helpful to see the photos and the constant supporting evidence that she provides to show that doing that, saying thank you to the water, really does change actually the structure of it. So super powerful stuff.
Wow, that's amazing. Do you have any, I mean, your journey is a superhero amazing journey anyway, and it seems so healing and blessed. Was there any moment in time that kind of just stood out to you, like a magical moment of you with the water?
There's many
I know,
actually.
right?
Dolphins was definitely one of those. You know, the one that's coming up is less magical. It actually feels kind of in the opposite spectrum. But
Mhm.
I had this moment when I got to the Illinois River and I was heading back from my journey. And you know, when you get to your journey, the destination of your journey, whatever that is, whether it's a project you're working on and you finish the project, or a place you're going and you get there, or whatever that looks like in life as far as what you're going after, and then you get there. The ceremony that I did at the Chesapeake Bay was beautiful. It was extremely powerful. And then I woke up the next day kind of feeling like it was the day after Christmas. Like, now what? You know, I achieved what I set out to do. So what now? You know, my life didn't change in any big way. Like there was no, um, I don't know, no like tangible expression of like, you made it, Alyssa. You know, it was
Right.
very much an internal experience. And I didn't know anybody traveling across the US, but one friend that I know in Oregon would lead me to a friend in Canada, and then I would go meet them, and that friend would say, hey, I have connections in Connecticut. And then going and visiting with them, oh, where are you going? Are you going to the Chesapeake Bay? I have friends that live there. So I met several angels, if you will, along the way that housed me and fed me and took good care of me. So there were tiny pots of gold, if you will, along my whole journey. But I did have this experience afterwards that I was like, okay, like, what do I do now? And I woke up, I think it was maybe 3 or 4 days after I did the ceremony at the Chesapeake Bay, and I decided it's time to go back west. It's time to head back home. And so I stopped at the Illinois River along the way, and I got there and it was very, very dirty. There were dead fish on the bank. There was a ton of trash at the boat ramp that I was at. And the Illinois River is very wide and very large. And it looked like a highway. There were all of these huge barges on the water. And I had this moment of seeing the river as being used and abused. And It was being used as a tool, a highway, a thoroughfare to transport goods, whatever they may be, on these giant barges with what looked like to me no consideration for the life within it or without it.